Well, Flames fans, it's few and far between that I get to come on this show and we get to actually talk about a Calgary Flames win. This is a good night. This is a good night. It's a late night if you're watching in Southern Alberta, but it's a good night if you're a Calgary Flames fan nonetheless. Welcome to Game Over Calgary. My name is Auddie James. It is a 3-0 win that we're going to be talking about. The Calgary Flames victorious in Anaheim over the Anaheim Ducks. That would have been something you wouldn't have been able to say, I don't know, give that 4 years ago-ish, 3-4 years ago. The Flames' record at Honda Center was nothing to write home about. Either way, introduce my guest. I that would be very rude of me to not do so. Joining me from the Locked On Ducks podcast, my pal, Jason Hernandez. Man, how are you doing? It's good to see you. It's good to talk to you again. The last time and the first time you and I ever spoke, I guess you could consider this face-to-face over Zoom. But the last time we actually conversed in person was at the Angels game in Anaheim at the Big A. It was kind of funny how it just so worked. It just so happened that you and I were there. But it's good to see you again, man. How are you?
I'm going to playfully call you out here. The
Oh
last time we
gosh,
saw each other, we were at Angel Stadium and you were on the highlights.
I was. Oh
You were on the
god.
Sportsnet highlights because
Oh
a home
god.
run was in your direction
It was in my
and it
hand.
was in your hand.
Oh, that's a story that I will tell my kids and my kids' kids. My I couldn't believe it. Long story short, we'll talk about the game here, but the Moustakas hit this nuke of a home run. I look at
Yeah.
my wife and I say, "Hey, this is coming right at us." It's here. And I stick out my hand to catch this ball. Bounces out of my hand into the lap of the lady sitting next to my wife. And then on the Sportsnet highlight, you see my wife looking at me like this, and I'm like this. And lo and behold, Moustakas wanted that ball back. And
Yeah.
an Angels representative came and found her, and she traded it for a signed Mike Trout baseball. So it could
Dang.
have been a really, really nice trip to Anaheim, but instead I had a bruised hand and a few too many
Yeah, that
beers.
looked
But
gnarly.
it was good to see you at least, and that was a lot of fun to be able to see you there. But what isn't so fun is the fact that you and I have to well, fun for me, maybe not so fun
Fun
for
for
you,
you.
is that we get to talk about this Ducks and Flames game that went down tonight. I think we got to dive right into it head first here, and the first thing that I kind of wanted to bring up is goaltending from both sides, because the final shot tally, let me pull it up here, 44-27 in favor of the Flames. Now that's a thumping.
Yeah.
And usually, historically, if we went back a season ago or 2 seasons ago for the Flames, if they put up 44 shots, that's an L for sure. Like that's just Daryl Sutter hockey. Pepper him with shots and end up losing the game. But the Flames win this one. Lucas Dostal stood on his. I mean, I'm sorry. He. I don't want to say stood on his head. He played a hell of a game
He
despite
did.
like that's high shot volume.
Except for one goal. So the first goal that he let in, that one he wants back. That was
Yeah,
kind of a softball that he probably should have gotten. The other
muffin.
one, not his fault.
No, that was the second goal. If I go back to my notes, was a power play goal from Lindholm,
Mhm.
and that was just like it was a broken play in the Flames, in the O zone for the Flames. They lose the faceoff, a bad pinch at the blue line, and the Ducks
Yep.
go the other way 2-on-1. And I thought, this is perfect. This is Calgary Flames hockey. Look great for a period and a half, and then here we go with a shorty. But they get the stop, and yeah, just a good zone entry the other way. Really nothing Dostal could have done there. It was just a good entry that Sharon Govich crossed the blue line well. Nice pass to Lindholm, and he took his time. And I mean, really, if you want to break it down even further, you probably want somebody covering that area of the ice, or at least putting a little bit of pressure on the puck carrier on a penalty kill zone entry. But
This
yeah,
is Ducks hockey.
yeah, you know it better than I do.
there were some moments where there was absolutely zero pressure on the PK, which the Ducks were on a lot this game, as usual.
Mm-hmm.
And this has kind of been a recurring theme for the Ducks is the forecheck, or they're allowing the other team to forecheck the crap out of the puck.
Mm-hmm.
And also allowing teams to get into the high danger areas, which we saw time and time and time again. This could have easily been 4-0, 5-0, even 6-0 to Dostal's credit.
Yeah.
But that power play, it was a broken play, as you mentioned. But also, the Ducks didn't do themselves any favors by not clearing the freaking puck.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, come on.
It was a tough scene, and there was a lot of special teams tonight from both sides. There was penalties out the wazoo when it came to this contest tonight, and it was to bring it back to goaltending. Like I said, that's a lot of shots, and like you mentioned too, some high danger chances in there as well. And he looked pretty solid. He faced a he faced a heavy workload.
Yeah, let me look at my notes. So the high danger chances in the game favored Calgary. Want to guess how many high danger chances Calgary had this game?
Oh man,
just throw a number out there. See if it sticks.
I'm gonna
There was
say
a lot.
I'm gonna say a dozen.
More.
Oh
More
Jesus,
than a dozen.
20.
21.
Holy smokes!
Calgary had 21 high danger chances. The Ducks had 7. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. You know what? And I'll bet you those came early on. I don't think that they like as the game kind of went on. And I'm not. This isn't me dogpiling on the Ducks. This isn't me trying to get my licks in.
Oh, go for it. You can get your licks in now. I got my lick in early. I talked about your Bruce hand. 6 of the 7 Ducks high danger chances came in the second period.
Yeah, as I was gonna say, the one thing that I noticed is actually something that the Flames kind of struggled with early on in the year is they just kind of got crappier and crappier as the game went on, and it looked like the give a crap meter for the Ducks just slowly started to get down to empty by the time AJ Greer scored that third empty netter. It was a tough one. Honestly, the first period looked like it was going to be a pretty back and forth game. The Ducks at the end of that period ended up leading the game in shots by, I think it was one shot. I think it was 13-12 at the end of the first period, which is still like 13 and 12. That's a lot of shots for the first period. But it looked like fair,
a lot of those were in the perimeter.
There
wasn't exactly a whole lot of ins, like nothing in the slot.
No,
maybe a couple chances in the slot, and that was it. And that's something that Calgary, I noticed, has been good at. It's looking pretty good, keeping guys in the perimeter. And that goes back to their playing with the Wranglers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I noticed this season.
You would see lots of that. Yeah.
I saw that a lot with the Wranglers last season. Mostly kind of saving Dustin Wolf a little bit. But especially last season, if I'm going to go outside of Ducks, I also did the public address for the Coachella Valley Firebirds. And we saw a lot of Calgary. In fact, I think Calgary is the Firebirds' biggest rival. They had that epic series that should have gone best of 9. It should have gone best of 9.
It's a really good series.
Where I noticed with the Wranglers is that they would tend to clog up the zone a lot. They would tend to force other teams from the blue line, except for one period, or they would limit the rebounds. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but there was quite a few shots on goal, obviously, and Dostal had to really finagle his way around rebounds. At one point, Jamie Drysdale had to save his ass.
Yeah, he did.
By getting 2 saves from Jamie Drysdale, and on the other side, just not many rebounds.
Yeah, no, I did definitely notice that as well. It was a tough scene, but like I said, we're not going to add to the dog pile. It was we try to on this show focus on the positive because like I mentioned off the top, I don't often get to talk about wins with this team. I often get to talk about there you go. We both we're in agreement and we know what it feels like. But it's not often I get to come on here and talk about wins. So I got to try to find other positives. So one positive for me, I guess, from the Ducks would be the fact that Dostal looked pretty good. But like you mentioned, also probably could have been a substantially different hockey game. And I think the
Yep.
same could be said about the Flames because, I mean, Markstrom gets his 200th win of his career, becomes the third Swedish-born player to do so, and it's a shutout, a 3-0 shutout, 27
Okay,
save.
I'll give my
You
golf
got
clap.
it. You
There we
got it.
go.
You got to applaud Markstrom for that performance. But, um, you know, talking about shot volume, and I did notice, like you mentioned, the perimeter shots, especially because one of my points was just how many shots that the Flames ended up blocking tonight. It seemed like I think Hannafin probably had half a dozen himself. Tanev throws his body on the line every single night. He had 10 blocked shots last game on his own. That was his first game back
Yep.
from injury. This guy puts like literally his body through hell night in and night out for this team. But it could have been a completely different story. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to spin it in a positive light for you, but
I don't
it's
know how it could have been different. It would have been 5-0 or 6-0. I just went on natural stat trick. So all situation expected goals in this game were 5.78 to 1.82. You know who had the advantage there.
I could hazard a
Expected,
guess.
yeah, expected it could have been 6-2 Flames.
Right.
Expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Tough
that's where I
scene.
will credit the goaltending.
Tough scene. Tough scene. But I will say pretty good for my money, and I mean for all what looked like 20 people in the building tonight. Probably probably
It's
worth.
raining out here. Come on.
Oh no, I would make a joke about it being winter here, but a year ago today, I know you guys are Fahrenheit, we're Celsius. It was minus 30 Celsius a year ago today, and I think it was 11 degrees in the positives today. So it's going to be a green Christmas for the first time here in a long time. Not to divulge from the game. But another thing, like as we talked about off the top, was special teams on both sides
Mm-hmm.
got their workout tonight. Lots of penalties, and you can, if you're a Flames fan and you're watching this show, you could almost go to your favorite sports book, and if they're offering a prop for first penalty of the game for the Calgary Flames, at least for the last 5 games, you could probably put a good chunk of money on Andrew Mangiapane, and you'll probably cash out pretty. You'll put some jingle in your jeans if you end up playing that prop. But special teams,
They could have some bread for
they
dinner.
hey, there we
Ah,
go. The eat bread, Andrew eat bread. Yeah, they could you could be getting some bread from the bread man himself. But yeah, it was a very undisciplined game. I'd say both sides. I know you tweeted about it. It was probably the most undisciplined you've seen them, or something along those lines, in terms of the Ducks. But the Flames too, man. They had their fair share of trips to the sin bin as well.
okay. Let's play shall we guess.
Let's do it.
How many times this season so far do you think the Ducks have been nailed for too many men on the ice,
Oh God,
including tonight?
too many is probably the answer for the too many men.
Yes.
But I'm gonna guess 10.
Almost. They're almost at 10.
Oh, so they're
Last I checked, it was 8. So I think that'd be 9 by my count.
they got to be up there with the Leafs. The Leafs take a lot of too many men penalties as well.
Oh, not even close.
Actually,
The Leafs, no. The Ducks
no,
have by far the most.
really, are they leading?
Yep.
Are they leading in that category?
Yep.
Oh,
They
that's
sure are.
gross. That is gross.
That's disgusting. And I'm sure you'd agree with me. That is one penalty that is completely avoidable.
Oh,
That's something
without a doubt.
like a tripping penalty that's at the behest of the refs. Like certain penalties that's up to the refs if they see it or not,
Yeah,
or if they call it or not. But too many men is too many men, and that one was an obvious too many men.
it's pretty cut and
Because I
dry.
think, yeah, that one you had McTavish and Leo, and you had a couple of others that just broke down communication on a bad line change, and someone tries to go towards the box, does a 360, nope, other way. They come back on the ice for some inexplicable reason, and all of a sudden you have 6 Ducks on the ice for a good 10 seconds
Yeah,
before the ref finally says, "Oh, yep, sorry."
That
too many
was
men. And I'm like, oh.
that was tough. Yeah,
So
those
this
ones are so hard to swallow as a fan when.
this is where I channel my inner Steve Dangle on the Steve Dangle Podcast Network.
Mhm.
Stop taking too many men penalties. Count to five and stop.
Yep.
Stop at five.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stop. Six. No, not six again. Oh,
It goes back to that tweet that SDPN put out about what would you get your favorite team for Christmas, and maybe the Anaheim Ducks need a 5-page book that just has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 where they stop at 5. But it's so frustrating, and you're
they need a
so right.
counter.
Yeah, or like an umpire counter clicker thingy where you tick 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 get to 5 and that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. But you're so right. It's frustrating because it's so avoidable. And to bring it back to Calgary too, last year they took a lot of too many men penalties, and
They did.
Daryl Sutter was. I mean, Daryl Sutter was a lot of things, and maybe one of those
Yep.
things was not a mathematician. But it's frustrating. It's lazy, is what it is, really. Like when it boils down to it, it's lazy from behind the bench. It's lazy from whoever's coming off the bench. It's an avoidable penalty. It's stupid. It's tough,
It's the stupidest penalty.
it is because it's so avoidable, and because it's we learn how to count to 5 at a very very young age.
Yes.
They make
I
songs.
can do it. I can do it in Spanish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There you go.
No.
Yeah.
In,
You know
in,
what?
in
Yeah.
French. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
There's we could keep going, and
could
that's
keep going.
that's the 5 is the universal number that everybody usually stops at when they're learning another language. Oh, I can
Or they
count to
learn
5 in
counting.
this.
They learn counting from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. 1, 2, 5.
Yeah.
Teresa.
Yeah, that as well. But it's you're right. It's frustrating. I feel for you in that regard, but at the same time, I believe that was the too many men was the one that sent the Flames to that 5-on-3 or no. No. I'm getting so
No.
mixed up because there were so many penalties. The 5-on-3
No,
was the high
that
stick.
was the one that led to the Lindholm goal.
That's right.
Was the too many men.
Oof.
That's why I got pissed off about it. Because
Yeah.
an avoidable penalty leads directly to a goal like 16 seconds later. I'm like,
Yeah, it's giving Yelly Steve Dangle. That's what that gives. I wanted to ask you something about the Calgary Flames because I try to get the most unbiased of takes and opinions when I have people from other markets that come on the show and talk about this team.
okay.
I want you to tell me what you think about Jonathan Huberdeau and kind of what you saw from him tonight, because I like, as much as I love to focus on a positive and a win, a third win in a row for the Calgary Flames, where they're trying to chase down a wild card spot in a tight wild card race in the West, might I add. They're not getting a damn nearly close to what they should from a man who's making $10.5 million
I was
to
just
play
going to say
this
he ain't
game.
worth $10 million right
No.
now. He's not even worth $5 million right now. To have your $10 million man on, I think it was third line.
Yeah, he's been
Was
playing
he
on the
third
third line.
line?
He's been playing on the third line for probably close to a week now. And to
Yeah.
put it into perspective,
noticed
I
it-
believe he's on pace for 37 points this year.
37 points for $10 million. That is not worth it. I don't know what evil fairy put their evil pixie dust on Jonathan Huberdeau between Florida and Calgary, but something's lost in connection there. I don't know if it's with who he's been playing with. It could be a number of things. We could assume he's 100% healthy at this point, right?
I think so. I mean, I've kind of assumed everything in my head. I've been giving him the benefit of the doubt for a season and almost a half now, where I say, okay, maybe he's battling something. Okay, maybe it's between the ears. Okay, maybe he didn't want to come to Calgary and this is taking a toll on him, which I know is a factor. But I mean, we're at a large enough sample size now with this guy where it's like it's time to, for lack of a better term, it's time
Right.
to shit or get off the pot. Like it's not good.
To
And
be fair, he seemed a little bit snake bitten tonight because he had a couple of good opportunities tonight that just he got goalied by
he
Lukas Dostal on that one.
he did, yeah,
But
like that. I think I know which one you're talking about, where he's coming up on the flank and he's got a clear lane, and it's
yep,
just like it's a good shot and a good save. That's the
yeah,
one that I think of tonight. But also a couple other things I think of tonight are um, having a clear cut lane where there's you and the goalie, and he goes across the ice with a pass instead of taking it to the net.
yep,
And I think I know, you probably remember which one I'm talking about. I think it was
yep.
I actually wrote it as a note in the third period in all capitals. Huberdeau had a clear shooting lane in front of the net and he passed it and turned it over. The Ducks went the
Oh,
other way.
I think that was where I wrote, "What are you doing, Johnny?"
That's probably it. That's probably exactly it. And again, I'm not like, I know this is a night where the Calgary Flames win, but the glaring elephant in the room, and look, the Flames got offense tonight from guys not named Jonathan Huberdeau or wearing number 10 on the back of their jersey.
Mhm.
Nick DeSimone gets his first NHL goal, which is nice.
Um,
Lindholm has honestly, I think Lindholm had a great night tonight. I think he looked awesome.
yeah,
And then obviously the empty netter from AJ Greer. But you expect a certain level of production from guys that put up 115 points 2 seasons ago, that are getting paid $10.5 million to play for this team, and it's getting to the point now in Calgary where we're thinking it's probably going to be one of, if not the worst contracts in NHL history, if it doesn't turn around very soon here.
I'm trying to think if there's been worse contracts, but that's hard to come up with right now.
Everybody goes to DiPietro. The Rick
Yeah,
DiPietro contract was bad. Um, Jeff Skinner for a
Jeff Skinner.
while was bad, but he's kind of turned it around, and maybe that's something that he's still, I don't know if he's worth the money that he makes. I think he's 9 or 9.5.
Huberdeau's got a year and a half to make up for that right
That's
now.
right. Yeah, exactly. So
Maybe
I don't
less
know.
time than that.
It's tough, man, because this is a guy that I've I've been an advocate for. I've tried to defend. It's like, you know what? It's starting to get to the point now where you're running out of excuses for the guy,
Yeah,
and it's starting to wear
but
thin.
I'll go positive for you for a second.
Okay, do it.
Um, long time. I've been a fan of Nick DeSimone since I've seen him play a couple of seasons ago, back in, I want to say, like maybe 2021. For some reason, I was following him when he was with the Barracuda and with the Stockton Heat, and I
Hmm.
was always impressed with his poise. And to see him finally get one in the NHL, you know what? I said, good for him.
Yeah, 29 years old. It's a good story.
Yeah. But I will never forget that, like how good he was in that triple overtime game in Palm Desert, or that epic winner take all that went to overtime. And
Yeah,
I was always thinking, this guy's a pest.
yeah.
Like, he gets on a lot of, like, he's a thorn in a lot of people's sides. And for him to finally get one at 29, I'll admit I nodded my head. I said, okay,
Good for you.
good
Good for
good for
you.
you. You
Yeah,
got one.
it's a good story. It's a good story, and I'm a sucker for a good story.
Yeah, me too.
One of the things, obviously, that happened tonight as well was the near the end of the game there, that awkward play along the boards there, with Mackenzie Weegar and Leo Carlsson. Um,
Yep,
is
that's what I
do you,
want to talk about.
is there any, like, has anybody said anything about how he's doing? Because I was watching it with my wife, and she's had 6 knee surgeries on the same knee. So we get a little bit of a stomach turning when we see stuff like that happen on TV. And as they were playing the replay, I saw in slow motion Uyghur coming in, and I turned to my wife and I said, "Okay, we can't watch this. We got to wait till this replay's done, because I know a knee is not supposed to bend that way."
No, it's
Um,
not. So
and you could tell
I will
he was in a level of pain there.
I will only describe it as much as I can while being comfortable.
Yeah,
So Uyghur, he did lose an edge.
yeah,
And as he's falling to his left, Leo Carlsson tries to get the puck, and his shin goes a different way to where his knee is, and you could tell his knee is not supposed to bend that way. And the best way to describe it is it bent unnaturally.
Yeah.
His ankle shin area went back, his knee went to his left, and he went down in a heap. It was confirmed that he didn't get up. He had to be helped to the locker room and
Mm-hmm.
could not put any weight on that right leg.
Yeah.
I haven't heard any other updates as of now.
Right. Right. I'm
I'm
sure
hoping
that's
we'll hear
something we'll
something
probably, yeah, hear about in a couple days or tomorrow or something when they
probably
get a scan.
tomorrow because the Ducks do have a practice day tomorrow. Then they play the Kraken on Saturday.
Right. Right.
So I
Yeah.
assume
Tough
we'll
scene.
hear something.
Tough
But
scene
God,
for
I
for such a good young player who was finding his way with this team too.
he was. Leo was starting to come along really well. Was starting to figure it out more. And one thing that I love about Leo is he has been learning to drive play more effectively and not take as many risks on the
Right.
puck. I know that Leo can be a little reckless at times. So could Mintikov. He's also someone that has to be careful with 50-50s as well. So to see Leo go down like that, I just lost it. I was like, no.
I think we all took a collective gasp. Um, Anybody watching that game, you never want to see people get hurt. It's rivalries are one thing and opponents on the ice, but you never want to see people get hurt, especially a young player like him who has so much buzz around him and this youth core that is coming up here for Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be at the forefront of that, and you don't want to see that kind of stuff. So hopefully,
No. And by the way, this on a night when the Ducks finally got Jamie Drysdale back
right,
after he's missed almost the entire season. He'd only played 2 games prior to tonight's game. And Mason McTavish, who'd been out for the prior 2.5, 3 weeks. So to
yeah,
finally get both of those guys back, now you lose Leo Carlsson, who's been a big part of this offense. The injuries, it's not the amount of injuries, it's the key injuries. It's top 6 injuries.
mm-hmm.
Zegras is still out.
Yeah,
McTavish had been out for a while. Drysdale, top pairing defenseman, and now Leo, a top 6 forward who was figuring it out more and more as the season went on. To see him go down like that is just disheartening is the word to
yeah.
describe it.
It is, and it's like I said, it's never fun, no matter what side you plant your flag at. It's never fun to see stuff like that. And I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people in the Flames world, where I say all the best to him, and hopefully it's a speedy recovery in whatever the injury is, because it did not look pretty.
No.
For those listening live, thank you for doing so. This is awesome. This is Game Over Calgary, obviously, on the heels of a 3-0 Calgary Flames win over the Anaheim Ducks at Honda Center. I'm Auddie.
It's
This is Jason. It's late. I'm mumbling my words.
First off, people still call it the pond. It's
The
okay.
pond. Okay, I'll call it the pond from now on to just keep it simple for simplicity's sake.
Yeah.
I put a thing out in the chat there from the SDPN account to get your press conference questions in if you do have questions for myself or Jason about the Flames or the Ducks or the Angels or the Dodgers or anything about anything and everything, or even about the American Hockey League, because as you heard, and I failed to say off the top of the show, in arena PA voice of the Coachella Valley Firebirds, and I found out you were doing some USPHL stuff. I saw you
Yeah.
tweeting about the Ontario Junior Reign. That's
Yep.
cool too.
By the way, second right now, they're playing on another level at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
I have a family friend whose son plays for the new Tahoe team, the Lakers.
Oh, the Lakers.
Yeah, he's their captain, and he's playing down there as well.
Yes,
So
I remember him. Super nice guy, by the way.
he's very friendly. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
good kid. He's a good kid. So we do
Support
have
your junior hockey.
That's right, 100%. Especially, I'm a big proponent of that here as well. But every feeder junior league, like the USPHL, the AJHL, GOJHL, all those leagues, support those, please. They're very, very important for grassroots hockey. Press conference question: is Dostal / Wolf going to be the next Brodeur / Hasek? Dostal is what's his ceiling?
I think his ceiling is number one starter.
Yeah.
There was rumors that Dostal had or is going to steal the number one spot from John Gibson, and I I would be okay with that if in the near future, I'm sure you've heard the rumors that John Gibson is being shopped around
I've
or
heard
that
those
he
rumors for a
might,
couple years now, it
yeah.
seems.
But the way Dostal's been playing, I wouldn't mind it. I think Dostal has been an incredible goaltender who has great lateral movement, a good head on his shoulders, by the way.
hmm
And I've always been a fan of Dostal since 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
He's kind of coming onto the scene now as a nice young up and coming net minder. And yeah,
yep.
if and when
And
they do eventually move on from Gibson, he's probably going to be the future of the crease in Anaheim. You'd imagine, right?
and Dustin Wolf is still kind of a
Oh.
kind of a bad name around Coachella Valley.
Hey, he's something else, man. And I knew you'd like
Yeah.
to talk about that with your AHL roots. Um, yeah, it's sorry, I'm just reading a
They
comment there.
they've had some battles in the AHL.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's
goals Wranglers. Sorry, not the Heat.
not the Heat anymore, not the pesky
No.
Heat. It's the Wranglers. But yeah, he's done it at every level, man. He's done it in the WHL. He's done it in the AHL.
Yep.
Obviously he's
By
back
by
down
the
now with
way,
Markstrom back, but he's knocking on the door.
I may have over tweeted last season when it was the Firebirds Wranglers that the Firebirds actually beat a two-time goalie of the year and the league MVP.
Yeah,
That'll never happen
it
again.
was a damn good series too, like you mentioned. It was
Yeah, but that midnight game was way too late.
yeah, they can tend to go on a little bit. I know you and I were going back and forth during that series as
Yeah.
well. Let's see here. Oh, this is a question for you. It's a broadcast slash PA question. Which AHLer has the best name to pronounce, and which is the worst name to pronounce? I would assume by difficulty when they say
Yeah.
worst.
So I'm gonna go with best or favorite, mainly because of the fans at Coachella Valley. So my favorite name to say, because the fans do kind of a call and respond, Cameron Hughes.
There you go.
And I elongate it so the crowd goes Hughes.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's my favorite one. My least favorite one, I mean, I already know the answer to this. So he played, I think he still plays for the San Jose Barracuda. And I'm going to spell the name first, see if you can pronounce
Oh,
it.
Jesus.
So first name is Shakir.
Shakir.
Last name.
Mukmadulin.
Yep.
I
Come
already
on.
knew it. I'm like, I think I know exactly where you're going with this
Luke
one.
Madulin.
But it is a hard, like, if you look at that, that's way too many consonants and not enough
Yeah.
vowels.
To spell it, Mukhamadulin.
Tough.
Luke Madulin.
Tough. It is a tough one. And coming from a broadcast background with play by play, the amount of walk of shames I've had to do to opposition broadcast booths to try to get pronunciation, or if there's family in the I did the Alberta Cup a couple of years ago. I had to go ask parents. I'm like, look, I want to get this right, so please, can you just tell me the pronunciation of your child's last name so that I don't butcher it on the broadcast?
Bakersfield has a couple of players that are spelled Lavoie and Sav, but one is Lavoie, the other's Savoy.
Savoy. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah. I've had so many times in broadcast or for PA or for whatever. You think you know it, and you know what? I will give credit to I think it's the Brooks Bandits of the AJHL who in their broadcast package they would put pronunciation guides under names of players. And that was very, very helpful. That made my my life as a play-by-play guy very very good. And speaking of play-by-play, I want to give a quick shout out to Colin Uhas in the chat. Dragons miss Auddie. I miss you guys. I miss the Dragons. I've been following along with everything, and with Van as well. And I'm so glad to see him rocking the C in Drumheller. And shout out to my Dragons fam. They're doing great. I mean, I know Conrad's down here. He works for the Calgary Canucks, so maybe I should eat my words here. But Drumheller Dragons will always be a very special place, and I love my time with them, and I miss them. I miss them like crazy, and I'm so happy.
Support all hockey.
Support all hockey, junior hockey, man, grassroots hockey like that. So many good people. You meet so many good families like Colin and the Uhasses and all the families and the players just great in the community. I can't say enough good things about Van and all the other players in Drumheller. So yes, especially if you're going to support any teams. I know everybody's got their NHL and AHL and all that stuff. Find a good junior team to go support.
Yeah.
And make sure that you show your love for them as well, because it's just as important as every other level of hockey. Hey, without the AJHL, we wouldn't have had Cale Makar.
Yep.
That's just the nature of the beast here.
Without a lot of those lower junior leagues, you wouldn't have some of the guys on the NHL or AHL right now that are tearing it up.
That's right. Absolutely.
Or
okay.
the coaches, by the way.
Absolutely, that too. No. You're bang on. It's the coaches as well. That's gonna put a bow on it for this episode. This was a lot of fun, man. I had a blast. It's always great to talk with you and to chop it up and it's just fun. You and I have a good little rapport and good chemistry here. It's a good time. Before we stop and bid farewell to everybody watching, just let everybody know where they can find you, what you're up to. You're up to a lot of things, so the floor is yours to plug everything where you're at and what you're doing.
They can find me crying in a chair about this Ducks team because I've been covering them for 5 years. Anyway, you can find Locked on Ducks free and available across all platforms. We're on Amazon. We're on YouTube now, so you can see my hideous face on YouTube. Hey, what else? If you happen to be in Coachella Valley and want to catch a Firebirds game, you could say hi, and I'm the public address for the Firebirds. So whenever you hear Firebirds goal,
you know who it is. You can put a face to the voice now.
Yep. Or a certain outfit. I'm going Christmas outfit this week, by the way.
That's awesome.
So I'm doing that. Locked on Ducks. Also public address for the Ontario Junior Reign. We're having a fantastic season. Mm-hmm. Also doing some college sports on the side: baseball, basketball, football. So I'm just all over the place.
And every now and then you can find them at the Big A if you're in the area, or Dodger Stadium.
Maybe not as much anymore because Ohtani's no longer an Angel.
We're not going to talk about that. My little Blue Jays heart can't take that. That anymore.
Hold on. I will give you some good news. Ohtani is out of the American League.
This is true. I liked it when he was in the American League because not only were the Angels poo-poo, but you got to actually witness. I mean, they still are, but you got to actually witness the greatness. But now I have to despise Ohtani and the Dodgers. So, but that's for another time. That's for another time. We'll talk about that on if we ever do Game Over Blue Jays here. We'll have you back on. So, hey, thanks everybody for watching. This has been great. Be sure to like, subscribe. We're on the road to 100,000 here at SDPN. I know Steve and all the boys are pushing that on the SDP. So, please be sure, if you're new, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your grandma, tell your neighbors, your cousins, your dog, subscribe to SDPN and get us to 100,000. Until Saturday, that's going to be our next Game Over. I will be hosting against the LA Kings. Until then, stay safe. Be kind to one another. Have a safe holiday season. I'll see you before Christmas anyways, so we will chat then. On behalf of myself, my friend Jason, and SDPN as a whole, good night, and thank you for watching Game Over Calgary.
Game